Good morning. Myself Ramiz here, and today
Okay.
we have a training for inventory management module in Easy POS back office. Okay. So starting with the very first thing, that inventory management comes into the stores. Okay. So we can go to the stores from here. Okay. So we do have all list of stores here from where we can go up there. Okay. And in the store there are three different sections available. One is the item configuration, and then transaction and inventory transaction. Okay,
Okay.
so starting with the very first one, item configuration. So here we need to know how to configure a particular item in order to add it to the store. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So store item, when you click on it, you will have a list of all the store items available, or you can create a new one by clicking on new button, or you can use the Excel sheet to import and export. Okay, for ease of user. Now I will show you how to create.
Oh, just leave it.
Hello.
Sorry. You can go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, so we can click on new in order to add a new store item. Okay, so let's say I have an item named test. Now these are all the available units I have created already in my database. If it's not exist there, and if I want to create a new one, we can simply click on this plus button to add a new unit of my store unit. Now these are the base unit, okay, the source unit, in which you are purchasing the goods from the vendor, like you're purchasing in liters, in kgs, in boxes, big units you can say, right? And not the smallest unit. So here let's say I have used the kg as my base unit, the source unit, and then I can select my item category here. Okay, that this item belongs to which category. Okay, so those categories you can define here from the category type and category. Let's say this is a bakery item. Okay, now we do have a facility to add up to 3 vendors from which you are getting these goods. Okay, so this item you're getting from 3 different vendors, so whichever the rate they are giving good, you will buy it from them, right? So up to that time we have 3 options. Just a moment. Okay. Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Let me know when to continue.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, so as you can see, you can define up to 3 vendors from which you are getting the goods. Based on the rates, cheaper rates and good rates you are getting, you will buy from that vendor. Okay, now there is an option of is intermediate item. That means if this item is going to be in use with another item in order to produce final menu item, so that item will be called as an intermediate item, right? By using that particular item, we can create a final furnished menu item, correct?
Yes.
In order to sell them, right? And now there are 3 sections: store, unit, and bill of material. So in the store, we do have a list of all available store which we have created in our database, okay, or by which you're dealing with. So right now you can see all are grayed out, so we need to active them based on the menu items or store item we have created in a respective outlet. Okay, so every item will get activated first in the central store, and then with respect to the item, it's the chef decision or the store manager's decision to activate in a kitchen, store, or housekeeping or bar, depending upon the menu item. Okay, So let's say this item will be activated in the kitchen store. So first it will come to the central store and then we will send it to the kitchen store based on the request from the kitchen. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, now we can edit the particular item. We can enter its opening stock, let's say 10, and the minimum quantity if you want to keep in a store, and it should not go below that, so you can add that number. And maximum quantity you want to keep it and not more than that in your store, then you can keep that as well. Okay. And then the purchase rate, the default purchase rate you're getting from the vendor, right? And then if any taxes are getting applied, you can insert the tax values here and save it. So I've activated the item in a particular store. Okay. And the same I will activate it here as opening stock 10, minimum quantity 2, maximum will be 50, and my purchase rate will be 100. Save. So this item is created in 2 stores. So this item test will be visible only in central store and the kitchen store. If you will go to the bar store or housekeeping or test, you won't be able to see that item because it's not active in that particular outlet, okay, or store. Now units. So here you can see units consist of the source unit, which you have already selected, with a conversion factor of 1, and the destination unit 1. Now here we need to add one more unit here in order to define the conversion factor, in order to use it with the menu items, because something you bought in kg or liters, that the same quantity will not get consumed in order to prepare a menu item, but some portion of that menu item or store item is going to be in use, right? Taking an example of sugar, let's say you have purchased 10 kg of sugars or 1 kg of sugar. Okay, you're not going to consume all of 1 kg, but in order to prepare a particular item, you will use it like 200 grams, 250 grams, like this, right? So we must have the destination unit here in such items. So you can click on new. You will select your destination unit from here as a grams. Then we need to define the basic conversion factor as 1 kg equal to 1000 grams, right?
Okay.
Same in case of liter, that 1 liter equal to 1000 ml. In case of boxes, that one box which consists of 12 bottle or 24 bottles of water, like this. Okay, and save it. So this adds up the conversion factor here. Okay, clear with this?
Yep.
Okay, now the third one is the bill of material. So bill of material have two things. One is a menu item bill of material in order to set the consumption when we are preparing a recipe for the particular item, and the bill of material of the store item. That means in order you are preparing the store item in your own store, you are not purchasing it directly from the vendor, but the something recipe is there which you are creating in your own store with the help of other store items. Taking a simple example of tomato ketchup, you're not purchasing directly from the vendor, but the ketchup bottles, but you are purchasing your own with the help of tomato, sugar, chili, etc. Right? So those items you can add up here. Okay, let's say I'm preparing this item with some action, the unit, and a quantity 1. I'll add it, and the ajwan, let's say 100 grams, add. Okay, so whenever this item test is going to get consumed with any of the menu item, the quantity which is mentioned here of action and ajwan will get consumed as well from the stock.
Okay.
Right, because in order to prepare this we need these two items, right? So this is the bill of material of a store item if you are producing by your own. So this will lead to the manufacturing, which I will let you know. Okay, so I have created the item, this is already defined, so let's change a name as test 1. Okay, I save it, so you'll be able to see that item here. Okay, so this is how you need to create the store item, and the category type, that what kind of category it is. It's under the dairy product, or it's a meat, or it's it's a daily goods. So all the category types you can define, and the all possible categories you can define it here, that these are the vegetables, vodkas, waters, whiskeys, poultry things, right?
Okay.
The juices, which consist of all kind of juice, right? Fruits, which consist of all type of fruits, okay? The beers, the bakery things and everything. So you can just give a new, click on new button, enter the name and select the category and save it. So this
Okay.
created category we are going to use here, right? Here. So you have to
Okay.
define. If it's not listed there, you don't need to close this window and go to the category and add a new one, but we do have a facility to click on the plus button here, right? So you
Okay.
can click it right away, add it and save it, so you don't need to switch to the other window in that case, right?
Okay.
And then the location, so you can define all possible locations of your store where you are keeping your goods. Let's say you're putting up on a racks, rack 1, rack 2, rack 3, and you're putting up in a refrigerator, right, in a cold storage, in a fridge, likewise, so that the store manager have the exact idea where the item is kept, and they don't need to look after in the whole store, right?
Okay.
Clear with this?
Yes.
Yeah. So next point is a costing stock. So here this option is facilitating the bulk update. Okay, you can enter the minimum quantity, maximum quantity, opening stock, the purchase rate, taxes of all the item at once right away from here. Okay,
Okay.
even you can use the Excel sheet to import and export this, right?
Okay.
And even you can search it. So this is the same thing which we have seen.
I'm so sorry, but could you just speak a bit louder?
Yeah, sure. So here you can update everything in bulk, right?
Okay.
So these
Yeah.
items are same which we have defined in the store items. Just the difference is you can update everything in bulk from here instead of editing each and every item and inserting the data, right?
Okay.
And here is the calculate weighted average cost. So why this feature introduced? Because every time the market price are getting changed, right? Today some vegetable price is 10, tomorrow will be 20, and some other day it is 15, right? So the price are getting varied for all the goods you're getting for the store, right? So if you want to calculate the average costing, average weighted calculation for all the items, that a particular item, what is the average costing at the end of the month or at the end of the year for a respective store item, right? So you can calculate the weighted average cost of each and every store item from here as well, okay? And there are related settings regarding this which we need to active, and by which we can use the weighted average cost, okay?
Okay.
Clear with this?
Yes.
Okay, so now we are moving to the transaction part. Here we have all the internal transactions as well as the external transactions with the vendor. Okay, starting with the very first one, indent. Indent consists of forward and received, and then purchase order and market list, which is for the vendors, and then order for under stock items, goods received note, issue voucher to the other store, received voucher if you are receiving something from other store, and a goods return for the wastage. Okay, so starting with the very first one, indent. Okay, indent is something like the items which are not going to be in use every day, but you are issuing at once, and after certain interval of time it gets finished, and you can request the central store, the manager, to issue the items once it gets finished after a certain period of time, right? So let's say right now I'm in the kitchen store and I want to request something to this from the central store, right? So what I will do, I will raise the indent. So from which store you are raising the indent? Let's say from central store. What exactly you are asking for, right? You can press F3 to explore your search, and we do have the item there, right?
Okay.
So let's say for an example, I need apples. 5 kg of apples I need, so I will raise a request of 5 kg of apples from central store, right? I will save it. So now in the kitchen store it will be listed out here in my forward indent list, as you can see here, right?
Okay.
So here you can see what you have requested or what request you have forwarded to the central store, right? Now in order to see what request has received in a central store, we need to switch to the central store. Means the person who is sitting in the central store will have a request here in a transaction under received indent list. Can you see?
Okay.
Okay, right now you can see it's already authorized because we are using the admin user. So indent authorization is based on the users. If you're giving the access to the particular user, they will authorize it first and then we can process the indent. Okay,
Okay.
even we can authorize the quantities. The user authorization will take place here. Okay, so authorized quantity is already authorized and the user authorization is there. Okay, so what we will do, we will check the stock of this item in our central store. What is the current stock of that item, and then we will issue it. So when we are going to issue, you can see the in stock is 22 and requested are 5, right? And the rate of them are 500. So total amount per 5 kg is 2500. So I will issue based on my current stock I have. Okay,
Okay.
so I will click on issue and that particular item will generate the issue voucher. Okay,
Okay.
with this particular item. So we can save and print or we can save it. Okay, so let's say I want to save it. So I'm closing it here. Okay, now kitchen store will check in a received voucher that what I have received from which store in what quantity and what is the rate. So you can see this is the voucher number from central store with amount 2500. The item is apples in kgs with 5 kg. The rate per kg is 500 and total amount is 2500, right? So this is what I have received from the central store. So this way you can use the indent in case of you have more than one store in your premises or in your restaurant. Okay, then only we need to use the indent. For the daily goods we don't need to use indents. For that we'll directly use the issue voucher, which is nothing but the issue we are getting the pop-up at the time of indent, right? So why no need to use indent on a daily basis? Because there are some vegetables or the dairy products which are daily basis come to the kitchen store directly, right? And we have to issue them on a daily basis. These are not like the oats or dry fruits or something like that which we can issue only on request, but they are daily in use. So for such cases we will directly raise the issue voucher, okay, for the respective store. So the stock will directly update it in kitchen store. Okay.
Okay.
Now the next point is purchase order. Okay, so if you want to purchase something from the market for your store, you will prepare a list of it, right?
Okay.
So this will be the purchase order where you have to select the vendor, that from which vendor you're going to purchase. Okay, and you will add a list of items that I need apples 10 kg, right? I will add it, and then I need avocado 10 kgs right there. So I need these two things from the vendor 7-Eleven and I'm raising a request. Okay,
Okay.
so I've created the purchase order, right? Now
Okay.
when your goods will be received, okay, there's a storekeeper out there who will receive the goods, right? And they will verify. So at that time of verification we will generate the goods receipt note, that how much the goods we received against the purchase request raise, right? Because it's not like every time that what we requested the same we are receiving. There might be the possibility that we are getting something more or we are getting something less, right? So every time we must have a checker over there for the goods we received. So how to do that? We can go to this option and first we will authorize that purchase order, okay, and then we will create the goods receipt note. Okay, so goods receipt note will give you this window. Right now you can see the status is incomplete because we have not yet received. So you can see received purchase order item are 10 kg of apples and avocado. Okay, now if we will have these two options, the create GRN with all items and create GRN with remaining items. That means if you have requested for 10 kg and if you receive only 5 kg, in that case we will go with GRN with remaining items. Okay, and if you received exactly what you have ordered, then we will go with the create GRN with all items. Okay,
Okay.
so right now let's keep it here and let me show you the current stock of apple and avocado, okay, in kitchen store. So you can see apple 1 kg and avocado -1, right? Means we do not have the sufficient computer stock of avocado. So after this we will see what is the stock. So I'm creating the GRN with all items. So this will create the goods receipt note, which is nothing but what we have the direct goods receipt note. So here we do have two options. If you will click on save, this amount will be posted to the vendor's account, okay, to which we need to pay at the end of the week or at the end of the month. We are paying in bulk, okay, and if you are purchasing through cash, we can use the cash purchase option right away. So it will get settled automatically and it will not get posted to the vendor account. Okay, so let's say I'm just going to give a save. So I need to enter the voucher number here which we received from the bill of the vendor. Okay, all items have been received for this purchase order. Do you want to mark it as completed? Yes. So this will generate a goods receipt note.
Okay.
Just a moment, it will just preview the goods receipt note.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure, please.
So we need to make a purchase order for each vendor separately, or we can't make just one purchase order at once?
The per vendor it will be a separate purchase order.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you showed me the physical stock taking, some of them were negative. Was it because
Yeah.
it's below the minimum stock level?
Yes, exactly. So what happens is the computer is not updated with the current stock, but you have some inventory available in your physical stock by which you have created the item and you have sell it, okay, or you requested right away from the local vendor so that you can serve to the guest, but at a time it's not updated yet in the computer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that time the stock gets negative, and as soon as you will update the stock it will get balanced.
Okay.
But right now you don't want to face a delay in order to serve to your guest in the restaurant, because you manage it somehow, the stock or the goods by which you can create the item, but the software is not updated. How the software will know that you purchase it from the local vendor as of now and you made an item? Because as soon as you will set the bill of material of the menu item and when you sell it, the stock will get consumed. So if you have zero stock and if you will consume it, obviously it will go to the negative, which gets settled by the physical stock adjustment later on by the store manager. Okay, I'll show you that part as well. Okay, so now if you will look at the stock, you can see apple 11, because 1 was already there in the balance, and then we have a 10 we purchase. And here you can see 9 because it was -1, so 1 gets adjusted and the 9 is the current balance, right?
Okay.
So this way your physical stock will get updated automatically as soon as you will create the GRN from the purchase order. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So now, are you clear with the purchase order or any questions you have?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Now we do have another option as a market list. So what you can do here is you can list out all the items which you're going to buy from the vendor in future, but right now you're not sure about the vendor, right?
Okay.
The vendor may change based on the rates or anything, right? So
Oh.
list out all the items which you have in a respective quantity which you want to ask from the vendor. Let's say 7-Eleven, this one, 2 from the 7-Eleven or Walmart. So I've added these 2 items, right?
Okay.
One is from 7-Eleven and one is from Walmart, and I've saved it. Okay, that these 2 items I want to order in future. Okay, so let's say I'm here and if I want to change the vendor, I don't need it from 7-Eleven, but I need it from Walmart. So you can save it. So the the Walmart will get automatically changed, or you can see update vendor Walmart. Okay, so both are in a Walmart, right?
Okay.
And right away from here, you can create a purchase order. So you don't need to go to purchase order and add these item which you have created in the market list and again create a purchase order. No, you have already list out all the items which you want to buy from the vendor. So just create a purchase order right away from the market list, and you don't need to use a separate purchase order window for all the items which you have already added in the list. So this will reduce the user work. Their efforts will be less and the operations will be productive. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. And you can see even a log that at what time you have created the market list, from which store you have created, okay, when you have edited, with the time and date, you will have the logs. Okay,
Yes.
so let's switch to the central store as of now. So this is the market list and this is the order of understock item. Okay, so you will get you can see some of the items are listing out here, right? So why they are listing out here? Because we have set the minimum quantity of them and the stock is in negative. So system is searching out all the items which are running under the stock from the list of all the store items you have, and system will fetch all the store items here in the order of understock items, right? That means it's again doing the work for your users. Okay, that you don't need to go to the store and find out which item is running under stock, because as per the computer stock, system will give you the automatic update here that the stock in hand is -3, -4, -37, -20, -2. Right, so how much you want to order? So what you can do is, I need this 5, I need this 10, I need this 15, 25. So I want to order this quantity for which the stock is already in negative, right? So it will make the balance accordingly. And right away from the same window you can generate the purchase order. You can see.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can just save it. So all items will get again go to the purchase order, right? We can select the vendor from Walmart we need it, and we can save it. So you can go to the purchase order and you will be able to see that purchase order here, right? It's already created. So you can go up here and create the GRN with the same. Right now it's not yet authorized, so we need to authorize it first, and then we can go here and create a goods receipt note, which we already did with all items, and save with a particular voucher number. Yes. So the stock will be updated accordingly for all the items which were running under the stock. So if you will go in the order of under stock item, you will not find anything because we have already purchased it and now everything is in positive, right?
Okay.
So clear with this? So these three options are working simultaneously the same operation, but in a smart way. This is for pre-list, this is the real-time purchase order, and this is for under stock items, which system is scrutinizing from the database and gives you the live information of what is the current minimum stock you have, right?
Okay.
And this is the direct goods receipt note, okay, that if you have something directly in your store and you want to update the stock directly, you have not requested something but it's directly received on a certain interval of time, right? So you can directly create the goods receipt note of such things and the stock will be updated automatically right away from the goods receipt note. So the goods receipt note from the purchase order and this goods receipt note is the same thing, okay? But this is the direct goods receipt note and this is from the purchase order, which we have seen here, right, on this window.
Okay.
And the issue voucher is again the same issue voucher which we have already used in the indent, right?
Okay.
And the last one, the received voucher, that how much we have received in a particular store, right? So this received voucher will give us the data when you will use the indent, and some other store will give you some goods. Now the goods return. So right now I want to return something to 7-Eleven. Let's say I want to return the apples. So as soon as you will select the apples, you will have current stock at the bottom, that what is the current stock you have of apples. So you don't need to go to the transaction list and to check what is the current stock of the apple. It will give you right away on this window that what is the current stock. But out of these apples of 22 kg, the 2 kgs got wastage.
Okay.
So you want to return it to the particular vendor from which you bought it, right? So you can just add the quantity in kgs or in grams based on the units we have defined and just add it and save it. So this will create a goods receipt note and you will return this voucher with the 2 kg of apples to the vendor. So now when you will check the stock of apples, it will be 20. In this store is apples 15, but in the kitchen store if we check the stock of apples, it's 11. Okay, so out of total quantity we have returned some goods to the vendor, right, which gets wasted. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, clear with this?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the next thing is the inventory transaction, so which consists of 5 options: physical stock taking, inventory adjustment, inventory consumptions, wastage, and the manufacturing. The physical stock taking is a list of all the items for which you can see your computer stock. Okay, so what you need to do is you will go to the store at every week or 15 days or once in a month, okay, and you will get a physical inventory count report here, okay,
Okay.
or you can export the Excel sheet, you can print it out and you will go for a round trip. So you can print this report, okay, and you will go to the rounding, or you will go for the audit to check the stock. So what you will do, you will note down the physical stock here right away in front of the item, okay. Or you can use the Excel sheet as well from here, which will be easier for us to import, okay. So and you can update the stock manually as well. Let's say this stock I found physically 15, this stock I found 10, this stock I found 5. So for these 3 items I found these 3 stock which are already there, but the computer is not updated, right? Because how the software will get to know what is the physical stock until and unless the user will let them know, right? So we just need to add that physical stock here in the column, and we need to save it, so it will get saved. Now we need to update that stock into the computer, right? So we will go to the inventory adjustment. Right now you can see it's still in negative or 0, so we need to fetch the data we have saved, right? So we will go to fetch from physical stock data. We need to select the physical stock and save. So you will be able to see the list of it, which we have saved here in the physical stock taking. And then we need to click on add button. So this will update the stock, right?
Okay.
And then close it. So when you will check again, the stock is updated, right? Now you might have question that still they are visible here, right? Even if it's updated. So why we have stored this entry here? Let's say today you are on 22, and if you will go to the future date, see on 21 it's not there, but as soon as I'll switch to 22, I'll have a list of it. So this will gives you the idea to the user that on which particular date, in what quantity I have updated the stock manually for respective items. So even after you switch to 3 months later, and if you want to audit that, let's say in January for Advan, how much stock I have updated, you will have the idea that how much physical stock you have updated on that particular date, okay. So for that purpose we are saving the entry here, okay. Now the inventory consumption, okay. So inventory consumption are of 2 ways. One is at the outlet consumption and one is at store, okay. So if you have any manual consumption of a particular item at store level, you can enter it right away. That consumption is 2, right, with remark internal use, and you can just add it. So it's 5, and this entry you will be able to see here in the correction with the particular remark, right? So this is the manual consumption, and this is the outlet level consumption, which we can get it automatically if the BOM, the bill of material of that particular item is set, okay. So I'll show you how it takes place. So let's go to the central store first. Transaction, inventory consumption. You can see absolute vodka we have 2 quantity, right? And action we have 6 quantity. So we will set the bill of material at the item level. So we will go to the restaurant, the outlet configuration, which is Little Shamrock Bar, okay. I'm going to menu item. So let's say due rates. This is my item, okay. And I want to set a bill of material of this. So I will go to inventory consumption. I want to delete it from central store. So remember one thing, that when you are setting up the bill of material, you need to select the store wisely from which you want to see the consumption, right? If you will set the central store here, the stock will get selected only from the central store and not from the bar store, even if you have the stocking bar. So in your real scenario, you must need to select the bar store here and not the central, because we do have a stock updated in a bar, because central have already issued the stock to the bar, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so as of now I am selecting central store because I do have a stock in central. Now you need to select the item. Okay, let's say absolute vodka. Quantity tots, 1 quantity, add. So as soon as I will sell this item Durex, 1 tot of absolute vodka will get consumed from the central store, whose estimated profit is this much and estimated cost is this much. So based on your purchase rate of absolute vodka, it's calculating the estimated cost and profit. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And it will be calculated on your default set rate. So I've set this, the consumption absolute vodka for Durex. Okay. Now I will
Okay.
show you the real-time consumption. I'll go to my outlet and I'll sell one item Durex with 1 quantity, and we will see the consumption accordingly. Okay.
Okay.
This is my outlet. I'm using the admin user. I have the outlet Little Shamrock Bar in which I have the item Durex.
Okay.
So I'm in takeaway right now. I'll search the item right away, Durex. I've punched it, right, and I'll make the settlement. That means I've sold out one item. Okay, I'm selling one item, Durex, and I've sell it. Okay, now we will check the consumption at store level after selling one item. So I'll again switch back to central store. I'll go to inventory consumption. See, it's 1. The current stock was 2 before punching that item, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so this way it will consume it automatically,
Okay.
right? So this consumption you can see at the report level as well. Menu item recipe consumption or daily sales item consumption. Okay.
Yep.
So I'll select the outlet and I'll pull out the report. Okay. So can you see? From
Yes.
central store absolute vodka, it will consume 1 tots and sale price is 200, right?
So
Another,
in this case, vodka will be considered as an intermediate, right?
yes, as an intermediate. So in order to prepare a Durex, you need 1 tot of absolute vodka. So it considered as the intermediate. And the best report I would suggest to go for the store is item stock ledger, which gives the detail of all the transactions and operation you are performing. Okay, all your purchases and everything. So let me just filter out one item. So we are checking up the report for Durex. So how much you have purchased for this item, it's no. How much manufactured, how much issued, how much received, adjustment, there's nothing for this one, right?
Okay.
So here we will check for absolute vodka. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so here you can see purchase 5 Balance is -1 and 1 is here. I just need to restart it once. Okay, so this is the best report to check your consumption and everything. And the consumption, as we have seen here in the central store, that the stock was 2 and it was consumed automatically as soon as I've sold out the one item, and it's now 1. Okay, so again, when you will sell one item of Durex, the stock of Absolute Volca will be 0, right? So once you have set the BOM, the consumption will take place automatically. So this is the thing we need to take a note, that if you will not set the BOM for the particular item from respective store, the stock will not get consumed automatically and you need to insert the manual entry. So in order to reduce the user's work, we must need to set the bill of material of particular item. Okay. And now the wastage. So wastage are of 2 levels. One is the outlet level. That means if somebody have ordered the item, we have prepared it, the inventory gets consumed, and then they said no for that item, so it gets wastage for us, right? Because the item is already prepared and the ingredients are already consumed. Or if it gets wastage or something from the store, you can switch it from outlet or store and enter the wastage here. So for action, the wastage is 2. I want to enter from the outlet bar, and add, right? So it gets 4 and the correction will be visible here. Okay, so these are all the manual wastages we can enter, right?
Okay.
Now the last one is the manufacturing. So you can see only those items for which we have set the bill of material at the store level, which is in the very beginning, if you remember.
Okay.
Yeah, because here in the item configuration, store items, test 1, right? We have set this bill of material, that action and ajwan.
Okay.
Action in 1 quantity, ajwan in 100 grams. So if you have set this, then only you will be able to have a list of items here, right? Now if you want to manufacture this item in 5 kg, so you will enter the quantity here because you want to manufacture, or let's say you want to manufacture is 1 kg, and you will add it. So manufactured item successfully, right?
Okay.
And it will consume the stock of action and ajwan accordingly from the store. in which we have set, right?
Okay.
So we will check. The H1 is 10, action is 3. And if we check in the kitchen store for the same thing, H1 is 15, what we have did. Action is not activated here.
Okay.
Okay, so this way the item configuration of all the store items, the transactions with vendor and internal transaction with one store to another, and the stock management will be happen with the help of manual adjustment, automatic consumption, stock update after the audit, wastages and manufacturing. So
Okay.
this is all about the inventory part and the bill of material, which is must in order to set the automatic consumption. Okay,
Okay.
so are you clear with this? Hello.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I just want you to practice out this thing in a demo database, create some items, make the purchase order, make the goods receipt notes, set the
Sorry,
consumption.
can you speak a bit louder?
Yeah, I want you to practice out such things, right? Create the purchase orders, create the items, activate it in a different store, enter its rates and everything, right?
Okay.
Take some transactions, consume them by setting up the bill of material. And if you have any doubt, you can just write us on the live chat support, or you can drop us an email as well. Okay, and we'll be glad to help you out with all your queries regarding the inventory. And after this session, I'm going to share some video tutorials of you as well, so that if you're not clear on any operations, you can just go through those video links and take the help right away. Okay,
Thank you so much.
welcome. So I'm just ending up the session right now, and have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye bye.